The good news of Yogananda, the second reading, is his commentary on the first reading. True prayer and meditation is an expression of the soul, an urge from the soul. It is a hunger for God that arises from within, expressing itself to God ardently, silently. Modern religion needs to rediscover and emphasize the individual search for God, the method of divine romanticism in seclusion. Important to this practice is knowledge of scientific spiritual techniques for actually communing with the Lord in the inner silence of mental interiorization. When the disciple is in tune with God, he or she will hear the divine voice saying, I have loved thee through the ages. I love thee now, and I shall love thee until you come home. God speaks to us in silence. I'll start with prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Paramahansa Yogananda, all the gurus and the Kriya tradition, all of our angels and saints, be with us. Teach us what we need to know. Guide us in what we need to decide. And love us in a way that we can feel and experience it, so that we can be that channel of love and grace and light and hope to others. Amen. So I want to thank Pooja for filling in for me last week. Everybody told me you did a wonderful job. Thank you. Actually, you weren't filling in for me, you were just filling in. You were doing it. The better way of looking at it. I want to continue talking about now in the next 10 of my Thursday nights, talking about different essential aspects of Kriya Yoga. And tonight I want to talk about meditation, but I want you to see how practical meditation is. In a sense, meditation is the most practical thing we could ever do. But as I like to do, let me put it in context. We had a retreat this past Saturday, and I think I began the retreat with this following quote from a Catholic priest who was also a scientist, Teilhard de Chardin. And he said that we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's more than just semantics. It's capturing the essence of who we are. And it's also capturing the essence of a life well lived. And if we reverse that order, we suffer. If we think that we're human beings first, that we are the sum total of our human experiences, the sum total of our genetic makeup, we're necessarily limited, and we necessarily suffer, and we necessarily avoid reaching our highest potential. If we reverse it, which is really the truth, that we are the image and likeness of God. We are children of God. We are spiritual beings, first and foremost, having a human experience. And what that means is that we are the bridge between heaven and earth. We are the channel between the Creator and creation. We are the conscious link. And again, we do our best, we are happiest, we are most successful when we remember that. Now, it's hardest to remember that. It's hardest to live from that to the degree that we are afraid. You may be thinking, what does it have to do with meditation? Stay with me. During the Revolutionary War, Thomas Paine was an assistant to General George Washington at that time. And it was during one of the long winters when everybody was discouraged. They had lost a battle to the British, and a lot of the soldiers were going home. Some of them were dying from cold and starvation, and a lot were just dropping out. And it was a time of kind of despair. Kind of like what we have going on right now. And Thomas Paine came up with this saying, at least this is part of it, and Washington used it to really inspire the troops. These are the times that try men's souls. This is a time, and I'm not making a political statement one way or the other. This is a time that is trying people's souls. In my 61 years of living, I've never felt as much collective anxiety and fear as I do right now in people. So these are times that try our souls. And this is the clincher. When times are good and easy, this connection between, okay, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, it's kind of easy to get. Even if you get it at a superficial level, it's easy to get when times are good, when times are easy. When times are tough, when there's a lot of anxiety and fear, it makes it a lot more difficult to get that. See, the more we are afraid, the more we constrict. And the more that we constrict, the more we think, wow, I'm just a human being at the mercy of everything else. I'm just a human being at the mercy of these unpredictable forces. I'm just a human being at the mercy of karma. And we constrict, and it makes it a lot more difficult to know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And this is where meditation begins to come in. Without a deep and consistent prayer life, without a deep and consistent meditation practice, particularly during these kinds of times, we will not know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We will forget that. And we will be driven by fear and anxiety and aggression and anger. So during these times, the only way to really know that you know, to gather strength from who you really are and what you really are, you have to have that meditative practice. We have to plug into something that is larger than ourselves. Something that is larger than our optimism. Something that is larger than our affirmations. We have to tap into a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. And again, I'm going to just keep on driving this home. Without a meditation practice, it's virtually impossible. We forget who we are and we think that we're human beings, not even having a spiritual experience. Let me read a couple of quotes to you that just bring this out. The first one is from Jesus, from John's Gospel. Jesus said, truly, truly. Now, when Jesus says truly, truly in the Gospels, it means really, 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 really. Okay? Really, really. No kidding. Really. Truly, truly. I say to you, no one can see the kingdom of God. I'll translate that. You won't know that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. That's what that means. Truly, truly, I say to you, you cannot see the kingdom of God unless you are born from above. That doesn't mean you have to become an evangelical Christian. not a knock on evangelical Christians. That doesn't mean that you have to join a religion. What that means is that if you cannot connect with a higher power, particularly during these trying times, if you're not taking your cues from something bigger than the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or CNN or Fox News or the internet or Facebook, if you're not plugging into something that is bigger than the anxiety and bigger than the problem, you won't know that you are a spiritual being empowered to handle everything that comes your way. You won't know how to be victorious. You won't know how to stare down evil and fear if you're not plugged into something larger and bigger than yourself. That's what it means to be born again. That's what it means to be born from above. That you're not living from human knowledge alone. You're living from a transcendental source that is bigger than you. That's what that means. And it's not a one-time thing. You can go there and jump out of it. How we stay in it day after day is by meditating day after day. Quote from Yogananda. Know that you are the temple of God, a spiritual being having a human experience. And that the Spirit of God, which is more powerful than anything the world could ever throw at us. That's my commentary. And that the Spirit of God dwells within you. If you can clarify, you can know that if you can clarify and expand your mind through meditation to receive God in your consciousness. So, if we want to thrive through this time of trial, we can't do it by human ingenuity, we can't do it by human willpower, we can't do it by macho-ness or machetness. We only do it by plugging into something greater than ourselves, a transcendental power source. God's love, God's Spirit. I'm paraphrasing something that Yogananda said. The same power and grace that was in Jesus is in you. More developed in him, yes. Same power and grace that was in Yogananda is in you. More developed, yes, but it's the same source. Meditation is how we bring that into fruition in our life. It's the first step anyways. It's the basic building block. So I want to talk a little bit about meditation, and I'm going to get back to the bigger picture. So again, this is one of the things I'm taking no hostages. You don't meditate on virtually a daily basis, you ain't going to get it consistently. Just how it works. I said this in one of my writings this week. Somebody said to me, "You're so disciplined, you meditate every day, hours." I'm not really that disciplined. I'm desperate. Okay? I'm not embarrassed to say that. I'm desperate. I'm way in over my head. But what's over my head? God. That's why I'm so disciplined. Because I know that I'm way in over my head. The whole human race is way in over our head. Meditation is how we tap into that wisdom and that energy to live. So I just want to walk through some general principles about meditation and then kind of get back to the bigger picture. First of all, just the choice. You don't have to meditate every day. We have to eat every day. We have to breathe every day. Most of us have to go to work to support ourselves. We have to sleep 6, 7, 8 hours a day to function well. We really don't have a choice about those things. They are innate and they're habitual. Just the choice to meditate, because you don't have to meditate, quote unquote, to physically survive. So just the conscious choice to meditate brings you into the spiritual realm because it's an expression of your freedom. So just think about it when you wake up in the morning and think, oh God, I just want to lay in bed for 15, 21 minutes. Craig won't know. I just want to lay in bed 15, 21 minutes, half hour. I'll meditate later tonight. I'll meditate twice as long tomorrow. I know none of you do that. It's just for the people on Facebook who do this all the time. When you say no, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go over to my altar, my chair, whatever, my pillow, and I'm going to meditate. When you make that decision, I want you to know what happens. Your soul begins to stir. That divine image in you begins to wake up with that decision because it's a decision of free choice directed towards God. That very act begins to pump life into you on a subtle level. So just the choice, the conscious choice to meditate every day aligns you with God's grace and love and intelligence. Just the choice in and of itself, whether you have a good meditation or not, gets you going in that direction. Secondly, there are many benefits to meditate. It improves your health. It shows that there's studies that show it gives you greater longevity in your life. It can reduce your blood pressure, bring brain coherency. Many blessings to it. But as spiritual people, as Kriya Yoga knows, that's a sideshow. That's not really why we meditate. Those are good, but that's not the essence of why we meditate. We meditate to experience oneness with God. We meditate to experience intimacy with God. We meditate to remember who we are. Spiritual beings having a human experience. That's why we meditate. Will those side benefits come? Yes. But that's why we meditate. Because that brings us into union and communion, which floods us with love and grace, that restores us to who we really are. You've heard me tell the story before. Teresa of Avila, the Catholic mystic, went through a long period of dryness in her meditation. Nothing was happening. And finally, one day, in a spirit of frustration, she said, I've been meditating for years, nothing. And she heard a voice. Teresa, do you meditate to have good experiences and get spiritual powers? Or do you meditate because you love me? It clicked, and her dryness went away. And meditate to be in union with God. Thirdly, and this is where it begins to be very practical and existential, that union with God isn't just, it is an otherworldly phenomenon, but it's not just an otherworldly phenomenon. That union with God, and I mean this quite literally, it's not a metaphor. It aligns us with the love of God that loved creation into existence, that sustains creation, and that sustains us. We plug into it. It plugs into us. And then we begin to consciously be aware of it and to consciously use it, and the best way of using it, to live our lives. Again, Teilhard de Chardin said the most powerful force in the universe is God's love. So that when we meditate and we plug into God's love, we become powerful in our lives. You know, we tend to have this image of saints that they were mamby-pamby. They weren't. They were powerful people. And the more we plug into the love of God, it doesn't just swoon our hearts, it releases a force in our life that we can plug into our day-to-day existence. We become God-like. Fourthly, this divine energy or love infuses our will. It gives the mind It infuses the mind and the will and the imagination with strength, with wisdom, and with love. It swells our heart and our capacity to love. You've heard me tell this story maybe before about Mother Teresa, but let me tell it again because it captures it so perfectly. She was a sweet, loving lady, and she was as tough as nails. This is a true story. It was when there was a civil war going on in Lebanon. She had visited a family in one of the quarters of Lebanon. A couple of families brought them food, and she promised to come back a few days later and bring them more food and supplies, because nothing was giving in. Well, a few days later, the civil war got more intense, and she came, and there was a barricade. And they said, "Sister, you can't come in." And she said, "I promised them. I gave them my word. I never backed down on my word. Sister, we can't let you come in." Now, she stood, 4'9". She didn't have a gun. She said, "I'm going in." All the soldiers parted like a Red Sea, and she went in. Not only did she do that to bring the supplies, but while she was in, the fighting stopped. Where did that power come from? Is it because she took a Dale Carnegie course? I don't think so. I never read that in any of her biographies. She spent the first 3 hours every day in prayer and meditation. That's where the power came from. That same power is available to each one of us. God has no stepchildren. We're all God's firstborn. We're all God's favorites. She got that power from her prayer and meditation. God's love is the most powerful force in all of creation. Now, I want you to get this because this is subtle, but it's important. Mary and Diane and Sharon are teaching a little course on mindfulness. It's not enough to experience the love and the grace and the power in meditation. We then have to bring it into our daily lives. Part of how we do that is to stay awake, to stay mindful, to not go into automatic pilot. How do we do that? Always remember who you are and what your purpose is. Never go into reactivity. Never just go with the flow in an unconscious way. You've heard me say this before. In almost all situations that I'm in, I never forget that my primary purpose is not to have a good time, and I have a lot of good times, but that's not my primary purpose in life. My primary purpose in life is to be God's presence wherever I am. And do I fail miserably at times? Yes. But I almost never forget, no matter where I am, that my purpose is to be God's presence. That allows me to take the grace and the love that I experience in my morning meditation and then to bring it into all of my daily affairs. So part of what being mindful is to be mindful of what is your purpose. Never leave home without an intention. Never enter a situation without a purpose. What is your purpose? It doesn't have to be a super spiritual context. In your work life, in your mundane life, somehow in there your purpose is to be God's presence. Never forget that. Be mindful of it. And that's how you channel the love into your daily life. And if you forget, that's okay. Because you had it in the morning, all you got to do is come back and pray to bring it back. God, I forgot. I just said something stupid to my wife. I never do that, but some of you might. Okay? My God, help me to be a channel. And because you were such a pure channel in the morning, you reconnect in your morning meditation, you reconnect very much more easily. That's how meditation becomes so existentially practical. Our life becomes a living meditation. So I want to bring it back to the big picture. And I want to read a couple of quotes. Because this is really where the rubber meets the road. I want you to listen hard. Jesus said, now this is not crack. This is Jesus. What do I mean by that? This is not an opinion. This is from God to Jesus to us. This is how God thinks. This is how God operates. And if we're connected with God, this is how we need to operate. I tell you, Jesus said, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you. And pray for those who mistreat you and persecute you. Now, then your reward will be great, and you will be called children of the Most High. You will remember who you are, because God is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked alike. I want to go back to that statement by Chardin. God's love is the most powerful force in the world. Now, what I'm about to say is going to sound naive, but it is truer than true than true than true. The way through this time of trial, the way through the fear, is love. It's only love. I don't think of love as always being sweet and syrupy. Sometimes it's strong and fierce. Love will show up however it needs to show up to evolve a situation. But I'm just telling you this, there's only two choices before us, really. It's love or it's fear. And fear will always manifest in some sort of divisive, destructive way. Those are the only two choices in front of us. Love or fear. Not human love, divine love. In Greek mythology, this maybe we'll capture it in a slightly different way. There's that creature, it's a centaur, is that how you say it? Got a head of a human being and a body like of a horse. What that represents is when we're really run by fear. Okay? You got the mind and the imagination of a man, a human being, which could be dangerous. But he has the heart of a beast. Without love as our primary motivation, we are intelligent animals who are capable of great destructiveness. It's either love or fear. One will lead to more suffering, one will lead to liberation. Second quote. This is from Martin Luther King. Love is creative and redemptive. Love builds up and unites. Hate tears down and destroys. The aftermath of the fight fire with fire method is bitterness and chaos. The aftermath of the love method is reconciliation and the creation of the beloved community. Yes, love, which means understanding, creativity. I want you to get what he's going to say now. Redemptive goodwill, even for one's enemies. That is the solution. Now, he's not saying he wasn't a passive resistor. He was a nonviolent resistor. He's not saying let people walk all over you. He's not saying don't stand up to injustice. What he's saying is stand up to it, but let your energy be from love. That is the only solution. We all have enemies. That doesn't make us bad. Are we endeavoring to welcome the enemy into the beloved community? It may take lifetimes, but are we endeavoring to welcome the enemy into the beloved community, to create reconciliation and not to win? I'll make this very practical. I talked about this in my reflection today. I'm going a little bit long, I apologize, but feeling like I moved, so I'm going to go with it. I had a conversation with a woman I considered to be very saintly many years ago. It was a very fluid, kind of spontaneous conversation. Very good. And then I criticized a public official. And I could just tell she didn't like it. And I said, did I do something wrong? She said, you were critical. I said, I was just telling the truth. And she said this statement that haunts me. She said, truth without love is just poisoned information. Truth without love is just poisoned information. You might get the facts right. I had the facts right about this person. My whole motivation was ugliness. The truth in that situation could do no good. It was only poisoned by my energy. So I want to make this very practical. Mind your speech. If you need to process your fear with somebody, that's okay. Counselor, spiritual director, that's different. You're processing what's inside. I get that. We all need to do that. That's different than going around with poisoned facts. That's a vibration that creates. One more quote from Dr. King. It's a long one, but I'm closing with this. He's capturing the whole thing of what I'm trying to say tonight. The meaning of love is not to be confused with some sentimental outpouring. Love is something much deeper than emotional bosh. Perhaps the Greek language can clear our confusion to this point. In the Greek New Testament, there were 3 words for love. The word eros is one of those. It's a sort of aesthetic or romantic love. The second word is philia, a reciprocal love and the intimate affection and feelings of friendship between friends. It's friendly, fraternal love. We love those whom we like, and we love them because they love us. Not bad, but that's... When he's talking about love, he's talking about what I was talking about before, and what Yogananda talks about. Love as being this heavenly, transcendental force that is the most powerful. This is the third meaning, the most powerful force in creation. The third word is agape. It is a creative, redemptive goodwill for all men and women, regardless if they deserve it or not, regardless if they're in the same political party as yours or not. At this level, we love men not because we like them, not because their ways appeal to us, nor even because they possess some divine spark. We love every person because God loves every person. At this level, we love the person who does an evil deed, although we hate the deed that he or she does. But I want to get that line. We love every man because God loves them. We can only love with that agape love when we are steeped in silence and in communion, and when we seek 24/7 to be a channel of God's peace, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. I'll close with a quote from Yogananda. Read a little, meditate often, and think of God in a heartful way, in a soulful way, all the time. We become a channel of grace. That's how we tap into the love that surpasses all understanding. That's how we become victors in any circumstances. It's the power of love.